thought I'd cover a house that I rarely speak about on the channel, Hermes, especially since they have a new men's release coming out called H24. The 24 is from the address of the original Hermes store, I believe, in Paris. But I'm excited about this fragrance, but it doesn't look very inviting when you look at the bottles, so I'm a little hesitant to think like it's going to be something that's exciting. But they haven't really had an official new men's release since, I believe, 2006, when they first launched Terre de Hermes. I mean, they've had men's fragrances released throughout the years, but those have been flankers. Either way, I'm going to talk to you about Hermes H24, which should be launching very soon. And then I'm also going to tell you about 10 of my favorite Hermes fragrances. And get this, this is one of the designers that a lot of the releases tend to be unisex, and they're not part of their exclusive collection. A lot of their releases in their signature lineup tend to be unisex, so there's a lot of unisex offerings here, in addition to some straight male offerings or masculine offerings. So either way, find out about Hermes H24 plus 10 of my favorite Hermes fragrances coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. That's right, today I'm talking about Hermes H24 plus 10 of my favorite Hermes fragrances. And again, this is a house I don't speak too much about. And I enjoy their fragrances, and they're a little unique and different as a designer in comparison to other designers out there, just because of the fact that they have a lot of unisex targeted offerings from their signature lineup of fragrances. I'm not talking about any fragrances from the Hermescence collection, which I do not currently own any of, but just their regular lineup of fragrances tend to be unisex. At least to me, they're targeted unisex. Either way, I'll speak about all of the fragrances plus a little bit about H24. But before I get to the fragrances, if this is your first time tuning into my channel and you still haven't subscribed, please do click that subscribe button below, and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. Now, before I start, who is a fan of Hermes as a house, and what are your favorite Hermes fragrances? I think Hermes happens to be one of the classic houses for fragrances out there, but I think in comparison to something like Geranium, Dior, Chanel, I think it's not up there, as in they have a lot of classic releases that date back quite a long time ago. But I think they've been around for a while, at least releasing fragrances, and there's some classics out there that are pretty darn good. But I don't have a lot of their classics here. I do have their very first fragrance, Eau De Hermes, but most of them are pretty modern releases. But let's talk a little bit about H24, which should be launching very soon, and from what I read online, I think it's already launched at a few markets, but it's a 2021 launch. It's created by Christine Nagel, and the concentration is Eau De Toilette, and the notes happens to be Clary Sage, Narcissus Absolute, Rosewood, and Sclarene. This seems like it's a synthetic node or something created in a laboratory to add to fragrances, but according to my research, Sclarene is a diterpene that naturally appears in the Podocarpus species Podocarpus cunninghamii. Its smell is described as powerful, woody, ambery, and reminiscent of Clary Sage. So, sounds interesting, but when you look up those notes, it seems to be fresh, it seems to be aromatic. Of course, Clary Sage is aromatic. It seems to be green, has green touches, but some researching, I've also figured out that it's a bit minerally and metallic as well, and woody as well. So seems like it's definitely leaning masculine. I just hope it's not something that's very in line with modern perfumery, with the trends. I hope it's a little more interesting and unique, and it stands out in comparison to all the mass releases. That's what I'm hoping for, and hopefully you'll get there. And according to the notes, again, minerally fragrance accords or styles. Terre de Hermes is a minerally experience to me, so they're keeping in line with that particular style, I guess. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it'll be something that's solid, and it'll be the start of a, you know, a new set of like flankers for this particular series. Hopefully it'll be well and it'll be received well, and I'm hoping in order for that to happen, I'm hoping the actual fragrance smells great and, you know, at least performs decently. But let me know who's anticipating this particular release, and if you have sampled it already, please do let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out what it smells like and get some information from you guys. But yeah, put some comments down so I can find out. Now let's move forward with the fragrances. So we're going to start off right off the bat with number 1, and I'm not ranking this particular list, I'm just giving you 10 of my favorites. This is a unisex targeted fragrance, and this is Voyage de Hermes, this one right here. And this is the Parfum edition. Sorry, my bottle's a little messed up. Been used a lot, you know, because I really do love this one. This one to me is a cardamom bomb, and it has notes of cardamom, juniper berries, sandalwood, spices, musk, lemons, tea, and rose. And for me, since I've cooked with cardamom and helped along, and I love that smell, this is like an authentic cardamom fragrance. If you like that smell, open up a jar of cardamom and smell it. It's captured here perfectly. You do get the spiciness, you do get the freshness, and there is that tea-like quality in here, definitely is in there. And light hints of rose and lemons and musk, and it's a winner. Total winner for me. Happens to be one of my all-time favorite fragrances that features cardamom, and I can go to the extent of calling it a cardamom bomb. It's amazing. It's a great scent. This is a tester, by the way, I had bought. And I really love the smell. I hope to buy another bottle very soon, a refill, but I think my bottle is so bad that I should probably opt for a brand new bottle. Either way, Voyage de Hermes Parfum. I have not really worn the original, so if you have experience with it and you've compared it to the Parfum, let me know. But the next one I'm going to talk to you about is a male targeted fragrance. It's Equipage Geranium. So this one is a spicy take on the original Equipage, and I really love the whole geranium styling in here with cloves. It's cloves, but there are other spicy touches in here in addition to the cloves, but you also have sandalwood. And I believe the original Equipage, which I haven't smelled for quite some time, focused on sandalwood. So this is basically, in addition to the sandalwood, they've added geranium and cloves and, you know, some spicy touches. It's very spicy, it's warm, and it's a little creamy with the sandalwood, but it's gorgeous. For me, it also reminds me a little bit of Boy from Chanel. The geranium in here and the geranium in Boy from Chanel have similarities. They came out around the same time too, but I love the smell. It's great. And also, it's not overly complex as a smell. You know you're going to get the sandalwood, you know you're going to get the geranium, and you know you're going to get the spicy clove in here. Great scent. Equipage Geranium from Hermes. If you don't know it, do check it out. The next one is part of their cologne collection. These are all unisex, I believe. At least to me they are. This is Eau De Rhubarbe ECARLATE. One of the best rhubarb fragrances. Not overly complex once again, but it's ultra fruity, featuring rhubarb, lantana, and musk as notes. These are notes taken off of the Hermes website, and I'm actually added additional notes that I pick up from the actual fragrances, and I get fruitiness in here. So rhubarb as a note is not necessarily fruity, but I think it can, but it's more like vegetal, it smells great. It kind of reminds me of the latest release from Comme des Garçons called Rouge, where that focuses on the beetroots. This has kind of sort of similarities. There's a vegetal quality just like that. There's a fruity quality just like that. But they're not identical. It just reminds me of one another. But I actually really love this one. And it's a great, fresh, fruity fragrance to wear in the summertime or any time of the year that you want something like fun, uplifting. It's a happy fragrance. Just be warned that these are eau de colognes. Then there's one more that's going to come up that they're not overly long lasting, but they smell fantastic. Eau de Rhubarbe ECARLATE, a wonderful release from the house of Hermes. Now this is probably one of my very first Hermes fragrances that I bought. One of the fragrances in this series dating back to 2001, I believe, way back then. So this is a fragrance featuring like bitter oranges and almost also pick up a woody green petitgrain note in here, although they don't credit it. But I'm talking about Concentré d'Orange Verte. but the original was called Eau d'Orange Verte, and it's so good, absolutely amazing with the bitter oranges, patchouli, cedar, amber, basil. But as I said, I pick up this green, bitter, woody petitgrain note, the leaves of the orange tree in here, along with the bitter orange. It's a fantastic smell. And one day, once on my travels, I was staying at a hotel in Berlin, and they had products from this particular line of fragrance, and I was kind of in heaven. You know, the smell is so good. It's a very, very beautiful orangey, woody, bitter green kind of a smell that I'm absolutely obsessed with. As I said, this is the very first Hermes fragrance I wore, but in its original form, just the Eau d'Orange Verte. But the concentrate, I think now, since the reformulation, to me smells more like the original Eau d'Orange Verte. Either way, concentrate d'Orange Verte from Hermes is a great, great citrus fragrance, a woody citrus fragrance. Next, go into a fragrance from their Jardin collection of fragrances, and this is got a little sticky something on my bottle here. This is Un Jardin Méditerranée. So Un Jardin Méditerranée I wore probably 3 years after this. This is focusing on figs, the fig leaf. And I started wearing it in 2004. I was actually on a trip to Portland, and I was at a Nordstrom there, and they had these put out, and I smelled them, and I was like, wow, that smells so good. I love the smell. So instant buy right there. Fig leaf, cypress, cedar, juniper, orange blossom, oleander, bergamot, lemon, mandarin, and musk. Lots of great notes. It's a perfect fig fragrance. It's fruity also, although they don't mention the fig fruit. It's definitely green and bitter green leafy, but there are some fruity touches and lots of floral touches in here, and of course the citruses. And they've captured the Mediterranean garden perfectly, I think. Because it smells like a Mediterranean garden, you know. The fig leaves are ample amounts of them in the Mediterranean, and this is perfection. A great fig scent, it's a great fig fragrance, but a very, very fresh, green and fruity, floral kind of a fig fragrance called Un Jardin Méditerranée from the House of Hermes. Those of you that don't know it, please do check it out, because I do highly recommend that one. Next fragrance is probably their very first fragrance. I think I'm 99% sure this is the very first fragrance Hermes launched. It's called Eau de Hermes. It smells very, very classic. And I had featured this last year in a cumin fragrances video, because it does have the cumin come up quite a bit. So according to the notes on Hermes's website, they do not mention the cumin, but I definitely pick it up here. So this one features notes of petitgrain, cardamom, cedar, cumin, leather, birch, geranium, sandalwood. Also for me, I think the leather that's in here is a little on the animalic side. So it goes musky. So you've got the muskiness and you've got that cumin. So it's a little daring for current times, I think, with modern fragrances. But if you like the idea of musky fragrances, slightly animalic with this aromatic spicy note of cumin, this is definitely one for you to try. It hints at fragrances like L'Autre from the House of Diptyque, maybe a little bit of Cartier's Declaration, not a lot, because that one doesn't go musky. This one definitely does for me. The muskiness in here I pick up has similarities to me of Musk Kubla Khan from Serge Lutens, but not as strong as that. Wonderful fragrance, but you got to be into the idea of wearing cumin, because the cumin is pretty prominent. Either way, Eau de Hermes, a great scent, and again, as I said, I think that's their very first fragrance. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is. Now the next one is Terre de Hermes Parfum. This is the Parfum edition, which came out several years after the original, which was launched in 2006. So probably my third fragrance from Hermes that I wore was Terre de Hermes. So it was Eau d'Orange Verte in 2001, Un Jardin Méditerranée in 2004, and Terre de Hermes in 2006. And I'm going with the Parfum version because I kind of like that a little more. And once again here, this is that whole minerally kind of experience with the vetiver. But you know, according to their website, Hermes, the Parfum doesn't feature vetiver, so I don't know if they've just left it off or what, but Terre de Hermes Parfum features orange, grapefruit, and cedar according to them, with shiso. Shiso is this Japanese herb, and I can totally pick it up here. But also, I figured that this has oak moss, maybe some flint, and some benzoin. But a wonderful woody, very, very classy, minerally earthy kind of a vetiver woody kind of a fragrance to me. It's great. It's a great smell, and I just recently put some on because I've had this bottle for a while, and I'm like, wow, okay, I remember this way back in 2006 when I first started wearing Terre de Hermes. Either way, Terre de Hermes is a great scent from Hermes. If you don't know, do check it out. Again, that's the Parfum edition, and there's 4 different total versions of Terre de Hermes. Terre de Hermes the original, Terre de Hermes Parfum, Terre de Hermes Eau Très Fraîche, which is another fragrance I'm going to talk to you about. And then they have the Intense Vetiver, that's the 4th that I'm not featuring today, but I am featuring this one. This one, Eau Très Fraîche, is a great, great alternative to this. It lightly hints at this, or the original Terre de Hermes, but this freshened up quite a bit with grapefruit and bitter orange, geranium, watery touches, because there's some watery touches in here, woods, cedar, patchouli, and a little bit of the under there's some cumin that pops through. That's absolutely intoxicating. Wonderful fragrance. It's a total departure for me from the original Terre de Hermes. I don't find them too close, but it hints at it, like I said. And the other thing is it's created by Jean-Claude Elena, who also created a similar fragrance for Frederic Malle, and I'm drawing a blank with the name right now, and I'll flash a picture, but a great fresh fragrance, really, really wonderful fragrance that I love to wear. I kind of dismissed it for a couple of years, but I think now that I've smelled it for this video, might go back to wearing it when it starts warming up again. A great scent. Terre de Hermes Eau Très Fraîche from Hermes is wonderful. Alright, this next one is from the Colognes collection. Again, this is Eau de Pamplemousse Rose, and this is a pamplemousse is grapefruit, and rose obviously is rose, with vetiver in here. So it's the grapefruit meshed with the rose and the vetiver, so it's fresh and refreshing again. And the grapefruit fragrance, you know, it smells grapefruity, but more of the juiciness, not so much the bitter, zingy, you know, spiciness of the skin of the grapefruit. So it's more of the juice and the pulp of grapefruit here, because it's very, very juicy with that rose and vetiver. And I think all these 3 notes complement one another very beautifully. It's not complex, it's simplistic. That's why they are this collection are very, very easy to wear, especially in the summertime when it's really, really warm outside, and you want some, you know, fresh, refreshing experiences, but, you know, kind of going into these different directions of citruses and fruits and herbs and things like that. Wonderful, wonderful fragrance. Eau de Pamplemousse Rose. If you like grapefruit with rose, definitely check that one out. And I'm going to end the video with Un Jardin sur le Toit. Now, this one is part of the garden series, whereas this one was inspired by a Mediterranean garden. This one is inspired by a Parisian rooftop garden, and it features magnolia, pear tree, apple tree, but fresh and refreshing. Very fruity, but very, very green. It's very green. I almost get like green ivy or green grass kind of a note running throughout it, but according to the Hermes website, they mention it's magnolia, pear tree, and apple tree. Definitely you got those in there. It's a compliment. Magnolias, I think, really do wonderfully complement pears and apples. I find those kind of fruits kind of similar as a smell, not too distinct, not too loud kind of a smell, and they complement one another beautifully. And then the magnolia has a lemony, citrusy touch to begin with the light floral essence, and it works great. But there is something kind of green, ivy-like, or maybe cassis leaves, or, you know, maybe grassiness running throughout it, maybe a little bit of a rosy touch in there as well. And the garden series from Hermes is a great, great collection of fragrances, and this is definitely one that doesn't disappoint. So that's Hermes Un Jardin sur le Toit. And that's the end of my video. Those are my 10 favorite Hermes fragrances. I do have a few more, but I left them off. I wanted to make this 10. And let me know if you're fans of Hermes. Let me know if you're fans of any of these fragrances. Let me know what are your favorite Hermes fragrances if I didn't mention them today. And also let me know some of your favorite classic Hermes fragrances. Put some comments down so I can find out. Lastly, what do you guys think about H24? Are you excited about it? Do you think it's going to be a solid release? Do you think it's going to be a little classic? a little modern, too common? Let me know. Put some comments down so I can find out. As far as notes go, as I said, for me it sounds great, but I'm kind of disappointed at the bottle because it seems kind of generic. Reminds me of 90s bottles. I don't know why. Late 90s, early 2000s. But something about the bottle reminds me of another bottle I've seen, and I cannot pinpoint which bottle it was, like when it came out. But it does remind me kind of like a late 90s, maybe even mid 90s to early 2000s kind of a look. So that part is disappointing. So we'll see what happens. But as soon as I find out about it and I'm able to get a bottle, I'll definitely do a review of it. Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please do like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye now. Thanks so much for sticking around till after the credits. Just wanted to also once again mention that I do have a 10% off discount code off my Teespring merchandise, and of course now we have Proud Oversprayer here. If you like to overspray your fragrances, this is a great t-shirt to wear. And then one more t-shirt. This is the You Had Me at Perfume t-shirt right there. So if you're a fan of fragrances, there are some really great t-shirts that you can wear just to show your support of perfumes, and of course also to show your support for this particular channel. And again, the discount code is You Had Me, all one word, and it'll save you 10% off not only these two t-shirts but also everything else in my merch shop. Thank you.